All right, Panthers. So if you're watching this video, you should have already done the module about proportions. So you should have taken notes on proportions, done the quiz on proportions, and make sure you know how to do proportions. Okay, because now what we're going to do is we're going to do the percent proportion. So this module, I think is called like percent of a quantity, but basically to me, it's all about this proportion called the percent proportion. So let's go to your notebook, the one with the table of contents. In your notebook, put down the date. I think it's the 24th, 9/24/20, and the title is Percent Proportion. And you got to see what page number you're on. I'm on page 13. All right. So fill out your table of contents. You should have all of these notes. If you don't have all of these notes, go back to the other modules, watch the videos, and put the notes in there. So even if to get caught up on the notes, you have to have a different date because maybe you're making it up at a later date. Maybe it's on a different order, but just make sure you get the notes in here and note what page is for what title. All right, so we're going to use the title of percent proportion. Okay, so the percent proportion goes like this. Here's what I want you to memorize. Percent over 100 equals is over of. Okay, write that down. Percent over 100 equals is over of. Now, those are not technical math terms. Those are context clues that you're going to see in the problems. We're going to use those context clues to solve proportions to find percents of things. Percent over 100 equals is over of. Okay, so now we're just going to start to work through some examples of this. I'm going to erase this in a moment, so pause the video if you need to. And have a calculator ready, because some of these are not going to work out so nicely, and a calculator is going to be key. Okay, percent over 100 equals is over of. Okay, so let's do this example. Find 82% of 240 pencils. Find 82% of 240 pencils. Okay, so all these problems can be solved by putting percent over 100, making it equal the is over the of. So here's what I mean by this one. I always start by asking, do I know the percent? Because remember, percent goes over 100. If I know the percent, it goes there. Is this number the percent? Is this number the percent? Some of the problems, we don't know the percent, we have to figure it out. Well, this one, this is the percent, you know, because it's got the percent symbol. So that's the percent. So let's put 82 there. 82% means 82 out of 100. Now, is this the is number or the of number? Now again, those are not technical math terms, but those are context clues. But check it out. It says find 82% of 240 pencils. Of 240 pencils means this is the of number. So is over of, it's out of 240, it goes there. We just don't know what the is number is. What is 82% of 240? That's basically what they're asking us. What is 82% of 240? So if we don't know the is number, this is where your variable goes. What is 82% of 240? So once you put the numbers where they go, then you solve it just like we solve proportions, which is why I said you had to have done the proportions module to know how to solve this. So you do 82 times 240. Let's say I don't want to use a calculator. I can multiply it like this. If you do want to use a calculator, go ahead and use a calculator. I think it's 19,680. And then get this cross product, 100 times x. Again, that's just 100x. That's how you write 100 times x. In between them, put an equal sign. Now you've got a one-step equation. Bring down your equal sign. Start on this side because it has the variable. You want to isolate the variable. That means you need to get rid of 100. The way you get rid of multiply by 100 is you divide by 100. Divide this side by 100 so it cancels out, and divide this side by 100. If you want to put that in a calculator, you can. I happen to know that if you take this and divide it by 100, it just moves the decimal to right there. So the answer is going to be 196.8. See if that makes sense. We have to get 82% of that many pencils. 82% is more than half of the pencils, but not all of them. Is 196.8 of them more than half of them, but not all of them? Yeah, that makes sense. So there's your answer. Now you can't really have 0.8 of a pencil unless you break it, but anyway, you get the point. If you want 82% of the pencils, you're going to take about 197 of them. Technically, it's 196.8. There you go. Let's do a couple more examples, please. Let's do 23 pounds is 60% of what? 23 pounds is 60% of what? So obviously we're dealing with weight here, so we took 23 pounds, which was 60% of something. That means it's more than half of something, but not a lot more than half, a little bit more than half. But again, to solve any of these questions, you put percent over 100 equals is over of. Again, I always ask myself, do I know the percent? Because that always goes here, over 100. Do I know the percent in this problem? 60%, so put that there. Okay, and then they give me another number. They give me this 23. Is that the is or the of? Because remember, it goes is over of. So check it out. It says 23 pounds is, so that's the is number, of what? So the of number is the one we're missing. So it's this number is this percent of, we don't know. So the trick is just putting the numbers where they go in the proportion, but it's always going to be percent over 100 equals is over of. So in this case, my variable goes there. And the last problem we did, the variable was there. So you have to figure out where the numbers go. Once you figure out where they go, you solve proportions the same every time. You just do this times this, 60x. This times this. That equals 2300. What symbol goes between them? Equals. All right, how do you solve it? Well, you bring down the equals, you isolate the x, and how do you get rid of times by 60? You divide by 60. On what side? On both sides. Divide by 60, divide by 60. Cancel that out. Now, if you want to put 2,300 divided by 60 in your calculator, you can. If you want to try to work it out without a calculator, let me show you what we can do. Okay, so if I got 2,300 divided by 60, one thing is, if the divisor and dividend both end in a 0, you could take the zeros off right there. Now you got yourself a shorter division problem. Blank, blank, blank. Let's see what we get. 6 into 2, nope, doesn't work. 6 into 23, that's 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18, subtract, get 5, bring down the 0. 6 into 50, that is going to be 8 times, because 8 times 6 is 48. My remainder is 2. So it's 38 remainder 2. That's the same as 38 and 2/6. That's the same as 38 and 1/3. So 38 and 1/3 is the answer. If you used a calculator, it told you that the answer was 38.3333. It was repeating, so you could just say 38.3, put a bar over the 3. All right, so 38 and 1/3. So does that make sense? It's 23 pounds, 60%, which means a little bit more than half of 38 and 1/3. That does make sense. We got the right answer. So again, this is the percent proportion. Let's do a few more examples. Okay, let's do this one. Let's see here. We're going to do what percent of 1,200? Let's see. We did pencils, we did pounds. Let's do inches. What percent of 1,200 inches is 185 inches? All right, what percent of 1,200 inches is 185 inches? So, just like all the others, something over something equals something over something. I always ask myself, do I know the percent? Because if I do, the percent goes here over 100. So in this one, which number is the percent? Is it the 1,200 or is it the 85? I'm sorry, 185. Okay, so if you thought the percent was 1,200, it is not. If you thought it was 185, also it is not. Neither of those numbers are percents. In fact, we don't know the percent. That's what we're trying to figure out. What percent? So that means in this case, x goes there. We don't know the percent. Now, one of these numbers is the is, one of them is the of. So it's what percent of 1,200 inches is 185. So the of is the 1,200. It's out of 1,200 is 185. There's your is number. So this number is some percent of that. Do you think it's going to be more than 50% or less than 50%? So 50% is half. This number is actually way less than half of that. So it's going to be way less than 50%. So what percent would you guess it might be? I think it's going to be about like 12% or something like that. But let's figure it out. Okay, so the way we figure it out is, again, we cross multiply. What is this times this? So if you do 185 times 100, the answer is going to be 18500. If you didn't know that, you could use a calculator. Okay, 1,200 times x, the answer is just 1,200x. What symbol goes between these two cross products? Equals. Okay, so let's solve this equation. Bring down your equal sign, isolate the x. How do you get rid of times 1,200? You divide by 1,200. What side do you divide by 1,200? Both sides. Cross that out, bring down the x. Now again, if you want to try to do this by hand, you can do this by hand. If you'd rather put it in the calculator, I'll let you put it in the calculator. But if you did it by hand, check out the shortcut you could use. The divisor ends in 2 zeros, and so does the dividend. I could take off both of the zeros to shorten up this problem. Makes it way easier. So now 12 into 1, nope, 12 into 18 goes once. Subtract, bring down. That's going to be 5, and the remainder is 5. So I know the answer is going to be 15 and 5/12. 15 and 5/12. And if you used a calculator, you got some decimal in there. I'm not sure exactly what 5/12 is as a decimal, but it's 15 point something, a little bit less than 5. 15 and 5/12. So remember, we said that it was definitely going to be less than 50%. I thought it might be somewhere close to 12%. It's pretty close. It's almost 15.5%. All right, let's do 2 more examples. So we have this question here. Let's see here. We'll do 18.7. 18.7 what? Kilograms. 18.7 kilograms is 99% of how many kilograms? All right, so 99% means almost the whole thing. So we have 18.7 kilograms, and that's 99% of how many? So it means that this number is almost all of something else. So it's got to be not much bigger than this. Maybe 19 is going to be the answer, something like that. Okay, so let's see what goes where. So percent over 100 equals is over of. So again, what I always like to do is ask myself, do I know the percent? In the last example, I didn't know the percent, so my missing number was there. But the percent always goes over 100. In this case, am I still missing the percent, or do I know the percent? In this one, I do know the percent. The percent is 99. So 99% means 99 out of 100. Now is this number here, is that going to be the is for the numerator, or the of, the denominator? So it says this many kilograms is, it's the is number, out of something else. So that number is 99% of what? Of we don't know. Let's put an X. So again, it's reading the problem and understanding where to put the numbers and the variables, and then you can cross multiply to solve it. So let's go ahead and cross multiply, see what we get. Okay, 99 times X is 99X. Remember, if you don't know how to do 100 times 187, you can do it by hand or you can put it in the calculator. But I know that if you multiply a number by 100, the decimal just goes 1, 2 over this way. It's going to be 1870. 1870. Equal sign goes between them. Bring down the equals. Bring down the X. How do I get rid of the 99? You divide by 99. On which side? On both sides. Divide this by 99. Divide that by 99. I do not feel like doing that division problem. I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm going to put in my calculator 1,870 divided by 99. And that equals 18.888. Now, if you notice at the end of all those 8s, there's a 9. That 9 isn't really there. They just automatically rounded it in my calculator. But really, it's 18.8 repeating. So 18.8 repeating. If you remember, I said the answer might be somewhere like close to 19. This number is 99% of something about 19. That number is about 19. Not quite that high, but close to 19. So this number is 99% of that number. One more example and we'll be done with the notes. Let's see here. Okay, so let's say there's a football team and they got 18 penalties. Last week they had 8 penalties. So they're going, wow, 18 penalties is what percent of 8 penalties? They're comparing this week's penalties to last week's penalties. So 18 penalties is what percent of 8 penalties? To solve it, let's do percent over 100 equals is over of. 100 goes here. If we know the percent, it goes on top of 100. Do we know the percent? Is it 18, is it 8, or is it the missing number? We don't know the percent, it's the missing number. Which one of these is the is and which one's the of? Which one's the numerator, which one's the denominator? Okay, so this one's a little weird because this is actually going to have an answer that's more than 100%. Because this number is the is. 18 penalties is what percent of 8 penalties? So the 8 goes there. And 18 over 8 is improper, which means it's more than 100%. Which means this week, this team got more than 100% of the penalties they got last week. So it makes sense because they have more penalties than last week. So it's more than 100% of the penalties. Here's how to figure out what percent it is. X times 8, that's 8x. 18 times 100, that's 1800. Put an equal sign between them. Bring down your equal sign. Bring down your x. How do you get rid of the 8? You divide by 8 on both sides. Divide by 8, cross that out, divide that by 8, and I'll go ahead and put it in the calculator to make it a little faster. 1800 divided by 8, it's 225. And that's a percent, 225%. So this team's coach could be mad at the players. He could say, you guys committed so many penalties this week that it's actually 225% of the penalties that you committed last week. That's a pretty big increase in the penalties. And again, it's all percent over 100 equals is over of. Make sure that you understand how to cross multiply and divide and everything, and as long as you do that, you put the numbers where they go, is over of, you'll be fine with percent proportion. Use a calculator to check your work, and that's all there is to it. All right, have a good day, Panthers.